One second, he was speeding down the mountain, chasing victory. The next, gone. Over a bridge, crashing 30 feet into a deep ravine. No one knew if he was alive. His bike lay shattered. Fans held their breath. Was this the end of cycling's brightest young star? But what happened next shocked everyone. How did Remco Evenepoel survive? And how did he come back even stronger? Stick around. This is a story you won't believe. Remco Evenepoel didn't start as a cyclist. In fact, he was deeply involved in football from a young age. He played for top Belgian clubs like Anderlecht and even had a stint at PSV Eindhoven. His talent was undeniable, and he was the captain of Belgium's under-16 national team. Many believed he had a bright future in football. However, things didn't go as planned. In 2017, at the age of 17, Remco started losing his place in the team. He wasn't getting much game time, and frustration grew. He loved sports and wanted to be the best at something. That's when he made a bold decision. He left football and switched to cycling. It was a risky move, but it changed his life forever. From the moment he started cycling, Remco showed incredible endurance and strength. His natural fitness, built from years of football, gave him an advantage. While most cyclists take years to develop, Remco progressed at an unbelievable pace. He wasn't just winning races, he was destroying the competition. In 2018, just a year after taking up cycling seriously, Remco became the best junior cyclist in the world. He won both the European and World Junior Championships in dominant fashion. At the European Championships, he won the time trial by a huge margin. Then, at the World Championships, he won the road race after a solo breakaway, finishing nearly 2 minutes ahead of the second-place rider. It was a performance that left the cycling world in shock. How could someone so new to the sport be this good? His stunning victories caught the attention of professional teams. Many top teams wanted to sign him, but Remco chose one of the biggest cycling teams in the world. This was a massive step. Most young riders start in smaller teams and slowly work their way up, but Remco skipped that process. At just 19 years old, he went straight to one of the best teams. His journey from footballer to top cyclist in just 2 years was unheard of, but this was just the beginning. The world was about to witness something even more extraordinary. After an explosive junior career, Remco Evenepoel entered the professional cycling world in 2019 with enormous expectations. He joined Desunink Quickstep, the best team in sports, and despite his young age, he quickly showed that he belonged at the highest level. Evenepoel's first major professional victory came in August 2019 at the Clásica de San Sebastián. This race, held in Spain, is known for its tough climbs and strong competition. Many expected him to struggle against experienced riders, but he surprised everyone. With about 20 kilometers to go, he launched a powerful attack on the final climb. While others hesitated, Remco rode away alone, using his incredible endurance to maintain a high pace. The chasing group, full of seasoned professionals, couldn't catch him. He crossed the finish line solo, arms raised in celebration. At just 19 years old, he became the youngest rider ever to win the Clásica de San Sebastián, a historic moment in cycling. That same year, he continued to prove his abilities in time trials. In the European Time Trial Championships, he won the gold medal, beating some of the sport's best specialists. At the World Championships, he took the silver medal in the time trial, an incredible achievement for a first-year professional. His ability to ride against the clock was unmatched for someone so young. Going into 2020, Evenepoel was no longer just a promising young rider. He was a serious contender. He started the year in Argentina, racing in the Vuelta a San Juan, a one-week stage race. He won the individual time trial convincingly and took the overall victory, but he didn't stop there. He also won the young rider classification and the points classification, showing his all-around strength. After dominating in Argentina, he traveled to Portugal for the Volta ao Algarve. This race was another test of his abilities, featuring a mix of time trials, sprint finishes, and tough mountain stages. Once again, Remco showed he could do it all. He won the time trial stage and delivered a stunning performance in the Queen stage, a grueling mountain climb. His climbing ability surprised many, proving that he wasn't just a strong time trialist. He could compete in the mountains as well. Evenepoel finished first overall, winning every stage race he entered in early 2020. His dominance was unheard of for a rider so young. He seemed unstoppable. With back-to-back wins in Argentina and Portugal, he established himself as one of the best young talents in the sport. Experts and fans started comparing him to Eddy Merckx, the greatest cyclist of all time. Everything was going perfectly. He was on track for an incredible season, and many believed he could win a Grand Tour soon. But then, disaster struck. On August 15, 2020, the cycling world witnessed one of the most terrifying crashes in recent history. The prestigious Tour of Lombardy, known as Il Lombardia, was underway, and among the favorites was a young Belgian star, Remco Evenepoel. At just 20 years old, he had already dominated multiple stage races that season, proving himself as one of the most exciting talents in the sport. Fans and commentators were eager to see how he would perform in his first-ever monument race. As the race neared its final stages, Remco was in the leading group with about 40 kilometers to go. The breakaway was navigating the dangerous descent of the Muro di Sormano, one of the steepest and most technical sections in professional cycling. This part of the course is infamous for its sharp turns and high speeds, making it one of the most feared descents in the sport. The riders ahead of him managed to handle the left-hand turn smoothly, but as Remco approached, something went horribly wrong. Riding at high speed, he miscalculated the corner and found himself going too wide. In a fraction of a second, his front wheel clipped the low stone wall at the edge of the bridge. The impact sent him flying over the barrier and into the ravine below. Spectators, race officials, and even commentators were in shock. One moment he was racing toward victory, and the next he had vanished from sight. Rescue teams rushed to the scene trying to locate him. His bike was found at the edge of the road, completely wrecked, but Remco was nowhere in sight. Moments later, they spotted him, 30 feet below, lying in the ravine. It was a terrifying scene. He wasn't moving. Medical personnel carefully made their way down to assess his condition. Miraculously, he was conscious. He told them he was in pain, especially on his right side. Given the severity of the crash, they handled him with extreme caution, stabilizing him before placing him in a neck brace. A stretcher was carefully lowered, and he was lifted out of the ravine and placed into an ambulance. At the hospital, X-rays and scans revealed the damage. Remco had suffered a fractured pelvis, a serious injury that would prevent him from walking properly for weeks. Additionally, he had a contusion on his right lung, making breathing difficult. Given the violent nature of the crash, there were fears of even more severe internal injuries, but fortunately, he had avoided life-threatening damage. However, his season was over. Had the circumstances been slightly different, the outcome could have been much worse. If he had landed on rocks or hit a tree, the injuries could have been fatal. Instead, he had fallen onto a relatively softer patch of ground covered with leaves, which helped absorb some of the impact. Still, he faced a long road to recovery. For the cycling community, the crash was a shocking reminder of the dangers of the sport. Fans feared that such a young talent might never return to his former strength, but Remco Evenepoel had always been a fighter. His journey back would not be easy, but if anyone could make a comeback, it was him. After the terrifying crash, Remco Evenepoel faced a long and painful recovery. His injuries were serious, a fractured pelvis and a lung contusion. He couldn't walk without crutches, and simple movements were painful. Doctors weren't sure how long it would take for him to recover fully. Some even wondered if he would ever return to top-level racing. The months that followed were tough. Even though he wanted to get back on the bike quickly, his body needed time to heal. His recovery took longer than expected, which made him and his team nervous. But Remco stayed focused. He worked hard every day, slowly regaining his strength. Finally, after 9 months, he returned to racing at the Giro d'Italia in May 2021. It was an emotional moment. The last time people had seen him in a big race, he was falling off a bridge. Now he was back, proving he wasn't done yet. At first, things went well. He stayed near the top of the rankings for 2 weeks, but then, on stage 17, disaster struck again. Another crash. He was forced to leave the race. It was a major setback, but he didn't give up. Just weeks later, he raced in the Tour of Belgium. This time, he finished strong and won the overall title. Then in August, he competed in the Tokyo Olympics. He didn't win a medal, but he finished in the top 10 in the time trial. Step by step, he was proving he could still be one of the best, but his biggest comeback was yet to come. In 2022, he came back stronger than ever. His first big win of the season came in April when he won Liège-Bastogne-Liège, one of the toughest one-day races in cycling. He attacked solo and left everyone behind, showing that he was back at the top. Later that summer, he took on the Vuelta a España, his first Grand Tour as a team leader. Many doubted if he could handle a 3-week race, but Remco proved them wrong. He took the leader's jersey in the first week and defended it all the way to the finish. Despite tough mountain stages and strong competition, he stayed in control. pole. When Primož Roglic, one of his biggest rivals, crashed and had to leave the race, Remco held on and made history. He became the first Belgian to win a Grand Tour in 44 years, but he wasn't done yet. Just a few weeks later, Remco went to Australia for the UCI Road World Championships. In the road race, he attacked with 2 laps to go, riding away from everyone. He kept pushing, increasing his lead, and crossed the finish line alone, becoming the new world champion at just 22 years old. By the end of 2022, Remco had won a monument, a Grand Tour, and the World Championship, an achievement only 3 other riders in history had managed. His incredible season was rewarded when he won the Vélo d'Or, the award for the best male cyclist of the year. It was the perfect way to complete his comeback from the terrifying crash that almost ended his career. The pinnacle of his career came at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Evenepoel made history by winning gold in both the individual time trial and the men's road race, a feat never accomplished before. Despite a punctured tire near the end of the road race, he swiftly changed bikes and still finished over a minute ahead of his closest competitor. What a journey. From a terrifying crash to Olympic glory, Remco Evenepoel has shown us what true resilience looks like. But what do you think? Will he dominate cycling for years to come? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you loved this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more epic cycling moments.